talk to you later.
Good morning, everybody. John Conley here, high atop center ice. We're right at the red line here. Dakota. I'm going to let you do the honors. So, Greg Erickson.
Greg Erickson.
Where are we?
We're at Dakota.
Yeah. Oh, gotta nail that exclamation point. So, for a person who joined us yesterday, I'm joined by a man that needs no introduction. However, it's possible. I said good morning. We're about 4 minutes till noon. It's possible we have somebody here that wasn't with us yesterday. Here you go.
Today's game analyst is on loan from the Chaska Broadcast Network. He joined them in 2017 as an analyst for certain hockey games, and he's been around Chaska hockey for years as the arena public address announcer. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please welcome Greg Erickson.
Golf clap. Golf clap.
So, Greg, we're going to have a chance to talk a lot. Let's start with the coaches. This is just moments ago. It is from Matt Christ of Prior Lake, assistant coach for the Lakers. Just before the start of the game, I'm here with Matt Christ, assistant coach for the Prior Lake Lakers. Matt, how's the season going so far?
It's going pretty well so far. The team's starting to click here right after the Christmas break. Guys are excited to get going here. But yeah, I think the team's looking good, and we got a strong team.
This is a nice event, 3 games, 3 days against top flight competition. Sounds an awful lot like a certain tournament in St. Paul in March.
It definitely feels like a mini state tournament here. We got some good teams and high competition, so it's good for our guys and good for all the teams that join the tournament.
Anything specific to some of maybe the leaders of this team individually, or just some themes that you're talking about as the calendar rolls into 2019?
Yeah, we got great leadership on our team. It starts with Jackson Juding, our captain, came back for his senior year. We're glad to have him. Guys enjoy being around him. We have some good leadership, and guys are ready to get rolling here.
Well, Matt, I wish the Lakers well, both in this weekend's event and also in the remainder of the season. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, folks, we're going to do the anthem, and I'm going to let you hear from the opposing coach, Chaska's Dave Snuggerud. This is a Hockey for Life. I'm here with Coach Dave Snuggerud. Dave, the Chaska Hawks, they wear the burden of a lot of high expectations with a lot of attention coming into the season. And as we look out toward 2019, there's been some signs of hope, and there's also been some games that maybe you wish things went a little differently. So tell me about the group and what you're thinking about for this tournament and then the coming season ahead.
Yeah, the expectations were high, and that was something new for our program that none of our kids were used to, being in the spotlight going into the year. And it's been really fun to be able to coach this group because of those expectations. And as we find out, nothing comes easy in life. So that's what we enjoy. It's a goal that we've set to be successful with some wins. We're still heading in that right direction with the great attitudes of the kids and the support of the coaching staff. It's been a really great experience.
It's interesting when the schedule came out for Hockey for Life. One of the games that jumped off the page at me was when Chaska opened up against Eden Prairie. That was the season ender last year for Eden Prairie in the sectional tournament. Then another one that jumped out was Chaska playing against Edina. It's the best Chaska team with the highest expectations in school history against a traditional power like Edina. So it's got to be fun to be a part of the growth of Chaska. You've been there for some years, and this is kind of the level that you maybe have always anticipated getting the program to reach.
Yeah, what a wonderful tournament for our kids to be a part of. There's so many great teams, and once again, it's new to us, being able to play 3 consecutive nights against 3 consecutive great teams. So it's really good for us. We're excited about this tournament. We're excited about the first matchup rather than looking ahead to Edina. Eden Prairie does have a bitter taste in their mouth, and that's why we love sport, because as coaches, we get another chance at the kick at the can there. And so they're going to be ready to play against us really hard. So we're excited for our group being able to get a good start here at noon today with great competitions, Eden Prairie, and then we'll look down the road to Edina.
Great. Best of luck to the Hawks through the rest of the season.
Great job.
Thanks for your patience, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed hearing from the coaching staff on both sides. Going to turn things over here to Greg Erickson. He's on loan from Chaska Broadcast Network. Good afternoon, Greg.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, this morning or this afternoon, turning into afternoon here at Dakota Ice Arena. We've got a good matchup here. Chaska won yesterday against Eden Prairie. In a I'd say surprising and a great game for them yesterday. All cylinders were clicking. Blaine Warner is taking the face-off against Jutting for Prior Lake. Jutting wins the draw, brings it back to his defense. Defense D to D. They're working it out of the zone, but McDonald flustered those plans. Prior Lake coming right back with it, dumps it in. I believe they're going to be doing a lot of dumping and chasing here to try to. Oh, and that's a long stretch pass to Pitt. Like he's on the left side, takes a shot. That squirts out, but it's a save. And out comes Prior Lake. So that's what you're going to see a lot today is a lot of these stretch passes, trying to get behind the defense. Prior Lake dumps it into the corner, going off for a change. So Chaska works it out. That's Kester across the blue line. Gains the red line, dumps it in, and that line is going off for a change now as well. Going into the zone. Prior Lake is passing it, trying to get it out. Although Magnuson holds it in at the point, his shot is a partial whiff, and Prior Lake is able to get it out of the zone.
It's interesting watching the early flow here, Greg. You know, the games are starting early. This is our noon start.
Point.
2 days in a row for Chaska, so it might not be an adjustment. But looking out to the other side, we've got Prior Lake wearing white. And they played in a game, not only 5 o'clock, there was some free hockey last night as that went to overtime.
That's right. So later night, but of course less travel for them as well.
Less travel,
that
but
makes a big difference. But
tight turnaround, that's for sure.
It's very interesting that teams do get used to playing at 7 o'clock, maybe 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. They haven't had too many of these noon games, so it is unique for them. D to D passing, that's Magnuson gaining the red line, and he dumps it in. Cable for Prior Lake in the corner, working it. Pass it around to the back of the net. Little chip pass there by Beatty. Also trying to get it out, but Chaska is stymieing their efforts.
One of the themes I usually look for early in a game is the coach going to run a what you would call maybe a normal length shift, maybe 45 seconds, or is there a concerted effort to get everybody into the game when I'm behind the bench coaching? Even if there's a whistle, 18 seconds in, 12 seconds in, hey, guys, over the boards. It's just nice if you're going to plan on going deep, running 3 or even 4 lines, that everybody gets into the game quickly rather than maybe, stuck in a long shift. It could be maybe 4 minutes before your third line gets out there to really get their legs going.
Well, and how much of that is due to matchups at this level?
I've never coached at a level as high as Minnesota State, Minnesota varsity level. So I think matchups probably mean more to guys. These are the big. Dave Snuggerud, for example, played in the NHL. He's coaching here. They're probably more in tune with things like that.
I think yesterday during the Eden Prairie game, Chaska definitely wanted to match up against some of the powerhouse groupings that they had on the ice at the time, and I think that's why they might have stymied them a little bit.
It showed us, aside from the big game from Jack Jensen, all those big name players for Eden Prairie were off the game sheet. So, I think you're looking at something. When I look at youth hockey, the levels that I've coached, it's a complicated game. Why don't we just take our best, and if our best isn't good in this day, the stakes are lower, so you lose a game, not worry about it too much, and not worry so much about line matchups. But high school hockey in Minnesota, whole different ball game, and I think you're asking the wrong guy to talk about line. These guys, they'd make a better color commentator than me.
We're playing checkers up here. All right,
tiddlywinks.
So Warner, that was an offsides by the Hawks, and Warner's taking the face-off once again against Jutting, right outside the Prior Lake zone. Yeah, I like the way you were calling out some of the various whistle stop music. I love that. As an announcer, I appreciate people knowing what some of that stuff is. I appreciate it.
So,
that.
Greg, we both do the public address. I've done a lot of youth games in the Edina youth tournaments. Friends of mine, Pete Wagner and Pete Henches and Janae Henches, doing the duty managing those. So it's nice. Every now and then people will come up and they'll ask which songs were, or they'll give a shout out saying they just loved hearing several song pickup. So people notice. So I know you do the same thing over in Chaska. It is nice when people recognize that a little thought goes into the buffer music.
Wraparound attempt there by is it Cash Mark?
Cash Money, I call him.
Cash Money. I like that. K Money, we'll just call him K. That line's, both lines are staying out there. Face off to the left of senior co-captain Justin Bach. Justin's a three-sport athlete for Chaska. We'll talk about him later. I think there's a lot to talk about there. And offsides once again for the Hawks. That time it was Ben's offsides.
So I got a text message a second ago from our color for the 7:30 game.
Yes.
He's asking if the game was on. It was actually his son with 2 late goals that were heroics, bringing Edina back from the dead to get Moorhead. So we got a great slate of games, Greg. We're watching a great one here, and it was impressive how 4 games yesterday, no duds. They were all great games.
I want to get a recap from you. Hopefully today we can do that for my own edification more than anything, I guess. And, of course, for everybody else that's listening in, just recaps of the games that happened yesterday. I know it was a full slate. I know it was a lot of fun.
Ryan Paul's in the house from Chaska Broadcast Network.
Yeah, that's my boss from Chaska Hawk Broadcast Network, CHBN. These games are also being streamed courtesy of CHBN as well. Or at least the link is on his site to have everybody be able to watch in on this as well.
If you can't find Youth Hockey Hub,
that's
right. It's confusing, right?
That's right.
YouthHockeyHub.com.
Not terribly.
If you can't find it, you're used to finding the Purple Boys over at the one website. Go to Chaska as well, and Ryan's linking to these games.
A lot of back and forth play here. Prior Lake is, they're getting some decent shots on goal, but nobody's out front has been out front to be able to clean up the mess.
So one of the things I want to talk about is at high school level, some teams are running 1, some teams are running 2 goalies. Yesterday, Chaska went with Stark, big win.
Right.
And today it's Bach. Bach is a little bit more seasoned. He's a senior, so Bach is in goal for Chaska. Prior Lake, on the other hand, they're sticking with Shop Bell. I think he's the only one that's been between the pipes in all of their games this season.
Gotcha. Well, and Justin's played a majority of the games, I would say. However, they are very high on Stark, who had a great victory yesterday against Eden Prairie. We'll talk more about Justin. We'll try out front. That was Scholey. And now Kester has it. He drives it toward the net. Scholey picks it up behind in the corner, getting checked off the puck by Winter. Puck squirts out to the point. Back over to Kester. Kester puts it off to the left on purpose over to Scholey. Scholey in the corner. We're going to get a whistle here. The net was off its moorings.
Every time I watch the Washington Capitals in the NHL, I always say, would somebody put the dang net back? Because they just keep saying, Kuznetsov, Kuznetsov. With Kuznetsov, that's a stoppage.
No, that's not what they mean. Okay, never mind. That's all right, John. Warner taking his 40th draw of the game. No, I jest. So that's Ethan McDonald. McDonald's behind the net. Crisscrosses with Pitlick. Pitlick with Mr. Speed, I call him. However, Prior Lake's breaking it out.
Cash Money on the right side. Look at him cut to the backhand. Great rush.
Looking for a pass.
Great rush, but if anybody ever wondered why do players sometimes wind up getting off to the off-wing, NHL examples being maybe Marty St. Louis and Ovechkin, Alex
able to
Ovechkin.
cross right in front.
Yeah,
there like that.
He cuts in. He goes to that white space and just not able to do as much from your backhand.
All right, so that's a pass over to McDonald. He just puts it behind the net for Warner. Warner, the Nebraska-Omaha draft. He's out front, takes a couple whacks at it, unable to put it through. Good saves there by Shutbell. Checked off the puck there. That's Cash Money again. He's all over the place today.
He had a real good game yesterday as well. Prior Lake, they did lose. However, it was 3-2 in overtime to Lakeville North. And, you know, we didn't see a bad team yesterday, and that's exactly what the organizers had in mind when they created Hockey for Life.
So Hockey for Life, we'll take this opportunity. I just wanted to ask you again, for my own edification, I guess everybody that's listening, what is the story behind Hockey for Life?
Some people get 30 days in the clink. Some people, their sentence is Hockey for Life. So anyway, Hockey for Life, as I understand it, I asked the same questions myself. Hockey for Life is I think it's, I don't know if it's registered as a charity, but it's an initiative from Lakeville North coach Trent Eigner. And in a way of promoting the visibility of his efforts, the Youth Hockey Hub tournament that Coach Eigner is a part of organizing, I think the Prior Lake coaches may be involved in it as well, is the name of the event, and then the title sponsor being Tradition. Tradition is a conglomerate now, many interconnected and interrelated businesses, and that's the Ennebick family from Northfield. Now Jake living in, I think, Prior Lakeville area is assistant coach of the Lakeville team. So that's what I understand. Some people watching may be a little more familiar, but Tradition, Hockey for Life, Youth Hockey Hub, kind of all colliding for this great event. And you know what? I had high hopes, Greg.
Yeah.
And then I got here, and it was like 10 times better.
Ooh. All right, well, it looks like we're going to get our first penalty of the game.
Lindholm hit him right on the number, and there's just no way to get away with it. 2 referees, 1 linesman crew in full view of everybody. Good news for him, it's not a USA Hockey sanctioned youth game. He's probably not going to get the check from behind with the misconduct. They usually just go to roughing.
Drove Lavelle right into the boards there, and he was a little dinged up coming off the ice here. And now they're talking about it. They're powwowing out that center ice.
We'll see. That just is obvious call, and it's a tough spot for a player. Every player, one of the things about getting to these higher levels of hockey is it's important to know your role. And if a coach is telling you, you're my energy guy, you're my effort guy, I need you to go out there, get in the game, go hit somebody. Here's Lindholm, it's 18, not Judding. Judding, is the guy they're leaning on. We've heard that in the pregame comments. Judding's a big scorer. Lindholm has big contributions to the team, and sometimes it's hard to regulate. He saw a player, saw the puck, wanted to win it, and throws the check.
Well, definitely trying to keep it in the zone as well. It was right at the blue line, so I'm sure he wanted to. I mean, it's not like the puck wasn't anywhere near the play. It was there.
Yeah, it was right time to check a guy, but you can't catch him right on the back like that.
But definitely the Chaska coaching staff was lobbying for more than 2 on the board, but it is only 2.
I think they wanted an explanation, and I think it was a court of conversation, and that's important both ways to set expectations and really set the tone for the game. Nonetheless, it's our first power play, Greg. I always feel that the first penalty is a great thing about changing the momentum.
Well, there's a goal right away. I believe that was Blaine Warner.
There you have it. We've got an even tussle back and forth. Boom, there's a penalty, and just 8 seconds in.
Do you remember yesterday when Eden Prairie had their first penalty of the game? And we do need a sound here. We need a sounder for that horn. If you remember yesterday during the Eden Prairie game, probably about 8-10 seconds off of that power play, the Hawks scored. So they do it again here, and so now we have.
That's for you, Blaine Warner.
Absolutely, way to go. And he's still on the ice. He's taking the face-off at center ice, and although he's been tossed, now Pitlick will take it.
So this is a revolting development for the Lakers. They didn't even have a chance to set up their penalty kill structure.
And here comes Pitlick, and you'll see he got the assist on that one. It was a very nice behind-the-back pass to Blaine Warner. Blaine kind of blew a tire there, though, and now this is Barrett with the puck. He gets it to the blue line, but not out. Over by Cash Money. Being harassed there by Pitlick. And headman pass up to McDonald. McDonald dumps it in, and they're going to get a change. Little pass out front, but nobody was home as the Hawks are changing, and now it's outside of the blue line, but Hawks are controlling it. That's Erickson. Erickson to the blue line, or to the red line, but that was intercepted. And a long slap shot taken by Cashmark.
So Bach, you know, one of the things about coming in, not having played yesterday, it's more normal. You know, you play a couple games infrequently a week, every 2 to 4 days. But he has seen enough rubber right now. He's not going to go cold. He's warmed up, and he's already seen 5 shots, saving all of those. Even though maybe we haven't been looking over to our left. There's not been a lot of zone time for the Lakers, more in transition.
Well, and that's one of the stories actually for Justin Bach, because on the season, he is a 3-sport athlete, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of the other players are playing hockey all year long. Justin was just a couple weeks before the start of this hockey season, he was quarterbacking his football team, the Chaska Hawks, to a state appearance in football, and so he wears number 1 on his chest for that team as well.
We're going to come back to that. I got a thought. For the next stoppage.
So Starkey was the defensive man on that play, but coming back to help back check is Benz, but there's a pass out front, although
Beatty was right there to bang that in.
He was tied up, though, wasn't he?
Beatty was right there. Good job by the defense tying him up. That's harder to do in the modern era with the rules that have been put in.
Yeah, you're not allowed to touch him for a bit yet.
Back in my day, you know, it was tie up the man, and you just can't quite be as physical down low like you could back in, you know, dating myself. I'm high school in the 80s, and
you and
know,
me
started my youth hockey career in the 70s. So.
You and me both. All right, so that's Kester behind the Chaska net. He dumps it up the boards, and the Hawks will try to break it out. Billy Bronson's long stretch pass to Warner on the blue line. He's out front, takes a great shot, Lavelle.
That's Pitlick.
Lavelle. It was Pitlick.
That's Pitlick from Warner. So the first one goes in the books, 2 from 12. This one's 12 from 2. Nonetheless, it's Chaska to 2-0, and Rhett Pitlick, this one's for you.
Pitlick has just an incredible amount of talent, and he's got a nose for that puck. And he saw that Warner was going to virtually pass it to him off of the goalie's pads, and it was sitting right there at the doorstep for him.
So 2-0 is the score here early for Chaska. I recorded that interview with Dave Snuggerud before yesterday's Thursday game, but in tracking down the Prior Lake coach to get today's audio clip, I saw him real quick. I said, Dave, you guys were awesome yesterday. He said, you know, we really maybe are going to be better off for experiencing a lot of adversity, and it was clear he was very, very happy with yesterday's effort.
I like
and
that
he's got to
answer.
be smiling right now. 2-0, we're halfway through the first period.
Yeah. And I talked to some coaches after that effort last night, and they said they wish the effort was put in for every single game that they play like that, that they put in against Eden Prairie. They were hoping to see that for every opponent, no matter who it is. All right, Kester behind the net gets, and he's down on the ice, and there's going to be another penalty.
Swanson.
Looks like Swanson again.
So while they're sorting out the penalty, I just want to mention you said that the goaltender Bach played football and had a postseason into the state tournament. So you're an '85 graduate of Burnsville, and one of the things that I remember very, very well.
I know who you're going to talk about too.
The '86 Burnsville was a great high school hockey team.
Yes. And
they had a slow start. They had won state in '85. A lot of players moved on. I think Finnegan and maybe some others, but they returned to Knopf, Bloom, and some others. So anyway, here's the story, and you know it, but this is for the benefit of our viewers. At the beginning of the high school season, through November, didn't have the roster set. December, they were sluggish. By Christmas time, you started seeing signs. But January on, they were fine. Why is that? They had like 6 guys. On the
playing
fall
multiple sports.
Of '85.
Yeah.
So if you graduate in '86, the high school season, fall of '85, Burnsville won the state football championship.
And then they went on to win the state.
So some players were 2 bookends, 2 high school hockey championships, and then they won I don't know, it was 4, 5, 6 guys, football in between. And I bring that up to say you should not be measuring the progress of those players in November or even December, because it just takes a long time. We've got Bach in this game. Later on today, you're going to see Herzog and McFadden from St. Thomas.
Okay.
Same story. These guys that are playing a fall sport, seriously, you know, some guys maybe at a small school like, hey, I'll go out for this. But these guys that are putting hockey on the back burner.
And I talked to Justin about it at the beginning of the season. I did a long-form interview with him for CHBN, and when we did that, I talked a little bit about, we might have used the word rust, but he definitely brought it up. He knew that he wasn't up to speed. Well, that hit on Kester is going to result in a 5-minute major penalty. Not only that,
I had
but
the wrong
Lindholm
guy.
has been asked to exit.
My apologies. I obviously had the wrong guy. I'd like to go back and watch this because the closest one to the down player was Swanson.
I think Lindholm
But
chipped him,
it's
though.
not Swanson that was flagged on the play. So Lindholm is going off, and they've sent someone in to serve. They're sending Swanson in to serve. 5-minute major. And Greg, just to reset for anybody just joining us, we're 10 minutes in. There's 7:03 remaining first period. Chaska leads 2-0. And Prior Lake now 5 minutes. They could give up multiple goals shorthanded here.
Bet.
This is a huge, huge moment in the game. Should they be able to kill it, huge momentum.
So the referee is getting Mike Kester off because of the head contact there. I'm sure they want to have him checked out. They're going to want to have the I thought that's what it might have been. I guess they're just, they're going to, head ref is going to come over and explain the situation to Dave Snuggerud and the Hawks.
So let's take this opportunity. You wanted to talk about yesterday's games. We had 4 great ones. Chaska's playing Prior Lake right now. They opened up at noon yesterday, doubling up 6-3 over Eden Prairie.
Mike Kester had 3 goals in that game, hat trick.
From defense, and I had a former defenseman that joined me for the late game, and he talked about how hard it is to get a goal when you're playing defense, let alone 3 in a high-level game. Back to the action.
Now Kester came right back out at the drop of the puck. In fact, the Hawks only had 4 guys out there at the drop of the puck, and now they have 5. That was very interesting. I'm not sure why they had to start him off. Maybe because he came off as an injured player. He had to not be able to play at the start of play, but he could play right after that. Big shot from Magnuson.
Nonetheless, I applaud the Chaska bench, Snuggerud and the staff. Those are some great problem-solving skills. Hey, he can't start out? No problem. Here's 4. Just hop the boards right away. Not waiting for someone to run to the bench.
And he
then
zipped
send
right
him
out
in.
there and took his spot on the right point. I'm sorry, that shot was actually taken by Barrett. It was a good slapper from the blue line, but
so their power play is
not a
losing
problem for
effectiveness,
Shotbell.
Greg. We're 25 seconds into the
what's
man
going
advantage,
wrong?
and they didn't score yet. The first one was, 8 or 12 seconds. So Prior Lake really needs a kill here. Prior Lake has to kill in order to kind of stop the bleeding. And if they do, it would be an epic momentum shift. There's going to be so much energy on the bench. They have a chance to get back in this game, but it starts with a 5-minute kill.
Well, special teams have been an issue for the Hawks. Believe it or not, they've probably scored more shorthanded goals than they have power play goals. So it's kind of an interesting, even though they've had a couple of nice power plays here in this tournament so far, they had one game where they had 4 shorthanded goals.
Little guitar solo here for Kester. He's done a chicane, followed by a hairpin, followed by a tri-oval. He's doing every track configuration, skating through traffic and cones, but kept the puck on a stick throughout.
Looks like Bach was looking for his 2nd assist of the season as he shot the puck up the ice. However, Prior Lake has gained control of it. That one hits the outside of the net, and the Hawks will regroup. This is Magnuson. He brings it up to Pitlick. Pitlick gains center ice over to Warner. Warner on the right side. Backhands it, saucers it in the middle. Couldn't quite connect with Pitlick. Prior Lake fails to exit the zone, and Kester walks it in, takes a shot, but that hits traffic. Now the puck has gone back down.
Nice clear on the PK by Tushy. And one of the things that came up yesterday, our color commentator for the Prior Lake Lakeville North game, Matt Henches, mentioned that he was real impressed with Prior Lake's penalty killing style. They're not content to sit in a tight box. They were much more aggressive. We'll watch and see if that maybe bites them in the butt, but they're definitely not going to just sit back and rock her back and try to clear rebounds. They're going to go out and chase you.
This is Benz with the puck, and now it's over.
Look at that. 2 guys on the wall.
Yeah.
Both the low forechecker defenseman and then the high forechecker forward are over to the wall, and that makes it harder for the Hawks to get quality zone time. But guess what? If a puck ever pops out, they may not have the personnel a man down to stop a great scoring chance. So nonetheless, they've killed half of the 5 minutes, Greg.
That's a good point. Chaska's positioning is pretty solid, though, and it's going to be a difficult task to get it out of the zone. There's another pass over to Lavelle. Lavelle walks in on the right side, cut off, drops it off. A weak shot from a sharp angle, handled easily by Shopville. And Prior Lake is able to send it down the ice. Is that a shot on goal against nice 92-foot shot on goal. Oh, Prior Lake picks it up.
Oh.
So you saw there.
Oh.
You saw there that Justin might have been giving a little bit up too much of the net up on that one. He wasn't able to get to the exact position on that one. And so Cashmark only almost buried that one.
Cashmark had jutting on the back door, and when he went to fire it, you know, it looked like if that pass could have got through the defender and the goalie, there would have been a shoddy. You know, real good scoring chance. Best one of the game so far for Prior Lake, and it came when they're a man down.
Yeah, how about that? Just a little bit of a defensive snafu in their own zone for the Hawks, and now Kester is looking around, surveying.
Great job clogging the
Pitlick, but
great job clogging the neutral.
Right
Cable stood up and
Yep.
came up. Nobody was behind him, and you can see this is a team that's not afraid to really challenge you on the PK. Great play there by Cable.
And I think the Hawks are getting a little bit too nonchalant, little drop passes that aren't connecting with one another in their own zone, and so the defense is not clicking. They're not communicating well at the moment on the power play. So Kester just buries it in. That's Billy Bronson with it over there. He tried to chip it out, but that didn't work. And Prior Lake is able to exit the zone.
Giving a lot of credit where it's due here. We're down to 1 minute remaining, 1 minute and 5 seconds to go in the power play. That means that the Lakers have killed off 4. Then the light at the end of the tunnel is in sight. And wow, this is going to be a great momentum shift
That
if they
could
can get
really,
through 1 more minute.
That could really pick them up. I do believe that they're going to regret not having Lindholm out there, though, for the rest of this game. He's been asked to leave, and I believe that means he won't be able to play in the next game as well.
It's obviously disappointing that they do lose a man down, but back to this game, they have to find a way to get things leveled up here. They trail 2-0, and you're not going to score a lot of goals with a major penalty against, but if they kill, and they're 30 seconds away from
Big
doing
momentum.
that, huge.
That's Lavelle with a snapshot.
Great job on the PK there, you know, tidying it up. It was pushed off to the sidewall by Green.
Yeah, they
now
had
they're
great
trying to find
defensive
it out.
positioning out front, no doubt. No doubt. Back over to Lavelle. Lavelle passed it off this time.
Green again.
Thomas wasn't able to pull the trigger, and Prior Lake was able to get the puck out, and they are 4 seconds away from killing this one. So, yep.
You're going to hear the sticks banging, I hope.
You bet.
These kids should be really jazzed.
Well, for sure the crowd was jazzed, the parents in contingency here. So that was Barry with the puck. He just sort of dumps it in. Prior Lake gathers it up. Now they're going to be working their way down the ice. They're at full strength. Although Chaska dumped it back in.
Talked about this yesterday during the Prior Lake game. There's only one way to play if you're going to put on that Laker sweater, and that's hard. We have evidence of that right there. You know, they fell down 2-0. They killed the major. And I'm seeing players like Cable and Green. You know, they're just playing all out every
just
time they're on the ice.
Lunch bucket efforts by those guys. That's a great point. All right, so that was Speltz with the puck over on the left wing. Lost it, though. McDonald picked it up. Starkey with it. Starkey with it again. Getting harassed there by Kimmis. There's 1 minute to go in the first period. Again, the Hawks are up 2-0. That shot was wide. Oh, there's an opportunity now. Well, Prior Lake is able to advance the puck back into the zone. Kimmis is on the left.
What a job by Kimmis to get control of that pass. It came in actually at head height and just knocked it down with his mitt. Next thing you know, he's skating with a flat puck. So great job of settling it there, and that's look, that gives another chance to do it. That's not easy to do, and you know, in the NHL, though, nobody ever better at that than Yager, and you know, very impressive to see a high school player doing that.
Well, Barrett just limped off the ice. He took a pretty good, healthy slap shot in the leg on that last sequence, and on that one.
So, Greg, we got a
just shot. And
first period break coming up here, and I didn't have a chance to get some player profiles from these schools. So here's the setup. Between period 1 and 2, it's the second part of the Chris McAlpine interview from yesterday. Chris McAlpine former Gopher captain and NHL player agent, longtime NHL player, is our guest between periods 1 and 2. And then we got a couple of player profiles with some of the more high-profile players in the state of hockey between period 2 and 3.
Great pad save there with seconds waning here in the first period. Bach was able to get that left pad stuck out, and the Hawks are trying to get it out of the zone. It's tied up on the boards over there. Benz was battling for it. And so that's the end of the first period. It's Hawks 2, Prior Lake Lakers nothing.
So if you're wearing purple, you know, this one went according to plan. Great start, 2-0 lead. Looking out on the other side, obviously the first half of the period was just a disaster for the Lakers, but they have a huge positive to build on as they go to the locker room. So Coach Pancras is going to talk to the boys, and I'm very interested to see how the first couple shifts go in this period too when we come back, Greg.
Great point. Looking forward to it. We'll see you in the second.
Part 2 of our interview with Chris McAlpine. We'll be back.
Just in general terms, so what should kids do as they want to move up the hockey ladder, specifically around those post-Bantam years, and what's best for kids to be considering?
Well, I think you know, the hard part for these kids and these families and their parents are, you know, with all the U.S. summer, you know, and then, you know, Bantams. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, a little bit, or they, you know, we put pressure on ourselves, and especially with colleges, you know, doing the early commits with these kids and whatnot. So everyone's kind of feeling like, oh my God, if it doesn't happen now, you know, I'm in trouble. You know, they just don't want me, and, you know, because they may have taken Johnny and he may be 14 years old, and you're 15 and thinking, well, what's wrong with me? I think the big message I would say is for all these kids, slow down, take a breath, and you have to keep improving. And improving, I mean, and that's like having fun with what you're doing. Kids are going to grow at different, you know, physically. Kids' abilities are going to change. And I'll go back to my own high school experience, which obviously it's completely different now. When I played as a sophomore, I mean, I got moved around a lot, like as far as physically on the ice and whatever. And then probably halfway through my junior year, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I just felt like I could do what I wanted to do. And certainly my senior year, and you know, I wasn't the most skilled player or anything like that, but physically I just felt like, you know, I could do what I wanted to do. So that's where the difference changed for me. I kind of felt that, and I think these kids all are going to have that, you know, whether you want to call it a light bulb moment or whatever, where they're going to have their moment where, hey, you know what, I can really, you know, produce here, or I can be a big part of this. And maybe as a ninth grader, you know, 10th grader, junior, senior, whatever. But I think all these kids, if you just, your time will come, because a lot of people say life's not always fair, but I think hockey is. And it does take, it'll even itself out at some point. You put the work in, you'll get something out of it. Now, will that be a Division I scholarship? I don't know. But I know you won't get one if you're not working hard, or you're not improving, or your attitude stinks. And I think, and I've been fortunate being a part of the high school elite league, seeing these kids come in, and it's so-called all the top players, which it is, but the exposure these kids get. And I think a lot of these kids coming from, you know, whether it's a small town school or a big city school, where, and there's kids in there that some, maybe they're getting, you know, hey, everyone's talking about this guy, and I'm getting overlooked. You're not. Everybody's watching, and everyone's evaluating and watching these kids. And I think, you know, with the Elite League, it's given them the best exposure in the country for that age group, because everyone comes in, they're watching, and there's kids that, you know, maybe he's not the best goal scorer, but you know what, he finishes his checks all the time. You know, he just makes right plays. He's in colleges. They end up talking about those kids all the time. Like, hey, what do you know about this player? You know, what he does consistently. And that's what, you know, I think in that environment with the Elite League, it allows those kids to you know, show themselves.
So, Chris, I think it's just normal that as kids are playing hockey, their parents are going to follow their age group and maybe close to it. They're going to have less familiarity the further you get from it. So you mentioned something interesting. There's early commitment and all the attention's on that kid that's college committed maybe before he's even entered high school, and that's awesome. But at the same time, if you're taking a step back, looking at things in a bigger picture, a lot of the kids that are having success are anything but those kids. And one of the kids that we talked about earlier before we started taping was, lack of a better term, maybe an average player in the high school elite league, and maybe an undistinguished high school player in Minnesota. And he's not just doing well in college, he's a superstar, and that's Odin Tufto at Merrimack. So, I think if people look at not just their son's age group or daughters, and look at a 14-year-old commit and all the attention on them and say, well, who are the ones that are winning Player of the Week in college, or maybe they're the postseason awards like an all-conference? It's the 20-year-old junior player that aged out of the Alberta Junior League coming in that's doing more than the kid they waited 5 years for after a 14-year-old commitment at University of Michigan. It's more times than not, it's not those kids. So it helps if you at least are aware of it to maybe make it easier to keep perspective.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, and you look at, if you go up and down college rosters, and a lot of these kids are coming out of junior as 19 and 20-year-olds, and they weren't the superstars on their high school teams, but then they've come and they've scrapped and they fought and they've learned how to do, whether it's be more consistent, whether it's, scoring goals, whether their time all of a sudden now has come. Schools are identifying these kids. The schools that have maybe your higher end talent, higher end draft picks, if you will, they're younger, and it's tough for those kids to go up against a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old who's like, hey, I've got 3 years of juniors, I've gone through this, and you're not taking anything away from me.
Minnesota's hockey culture is one of, if not the best in America, so it's only fitting that one of the best hockey camps in the world is right here in Nisswa.
This is Dan Germanson. Welcome to Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer based in Nisswa, Minnesota in the beautiful Brainerd Lakes area. At MHC, there is a culture that breeds success. We offer resident and day camps for boys and girls of all ages from mites to NHL, 9 weeks throughout the summer.
We've had probably 700 NHLers come through here.
We have 32 hockey-related activities per week. Over the years, we have had close to 400 professional players come through our camp, including Division I, Stanley Cup, and Olympic champions.
I'm a little surprised that this camp is still here. To be honest with you, we thought it would be about a 20-year run, and it actually got better.
Visit our website at mnhockeycamps.com. Registration opens January 1st for 2019.
Yeah, and I attended the University of Minnesota. You played hockey there, obviously, as a captain, and you look at Minnesota, Michigan, Boston College. They seem to have their pick of the litter when it comes to getting recruitments, maybe at a younger age. And then when they go to play games against Fair State, Omaha, Bemidji, Mankato, and I think all those teams have been in the Frozen Four recently. Yeah, and they don't have an advantage. So there's obviously more to the equation, and having the ability to get players that maybe are a little different profile. So how closing thought maybe on this subject is, how do you then suggest parents maybe not lose sight? You can't see the trees through the forest. Yeah. They're so focused on I think this is a short window, we need to do something quickly or it's not going to happen. How do you get people to say, you know what, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a long journey. Enjoy it along the way, and don't worry so much about how much attention or what accolades you're getting at age 14 or 15.
Yeah, and it is hard. It's hard because of how things are today. But you'll be better up. I talk to a lot of parents later on, like say 5 years ago, whether their kids in college or done playing hockey, whatever it is, and they said, all of them to a T say, I can't believe I was so stressed out about this. Yeah. And it's true, and it's hard, but I think the kids have to, they have to just keep enjoying it. And most kids will have more success playing something they want to be. instead of someone like me or someone else saying, hey, you need to go here and play and all that. Well, it's easy for me to do. I don't have to.
You don't have to go there.
Yeah. So, and I think we need more leaders too with these players. And I think too many kids leave at a young age, whether it's because of the talent or whatever, or they think they should, and they never learn how to be a leader on that team, as they grow up.
And you shared an interesting number with me. You said when you played in the NHL, there were 7% of NHL players that had come out of NCAA colleges. You might have been an oddball in the locker room, maybe the only one on the team in some cases. And that number's changed quite a bit. So where is it today, and why do you think that is?
I think I think it's somewhere around 33%, which is a huge margin. But I just think the college has really done a really good job of when kids are coming out of college now, whether it's after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or even 4 years, they're coming in and they're impact players. Where I remember a few years ago watching the St. Louis Blues. This was maybe 5-6 years ago, and I was watching their power play when they had Oshie, Backus, I think Schwartz, and I can't remember on the back end. I went, those old 5 guys are all college players. We're college players. That's pretty amazing. And that was their starting power play unit.
So if I could just maybe if the NHL is less concerned at where a kid was at age 18, as long as they're continuing to progress, it's easier for me looking at a child who's 14, 15, 16, maybe being less concerned about exactly where they fit in, and being more concerned about, are they on the right track? It's probably more important than, if I could just paraphrase.
Yeah, for sure.
So any final thoughts?
Well, no, just, like I said, with parents, with all of us, we got to just take a breath and just enjoy it.
Yeah. So good advice. Chris McAlpine, John Conley.
Hello, everybody. Dakota Ice Rink. This is Greg Erickson next to John Connolly. We're on Youth Hockey Hub today, and this is the Hockey for Life tournament in Prior Lake, Minnesota. And we are playing, Chaska Hawks are playing the Prior Lake Lakers. And out come the Hawks. Justin Bach will take his place in goal on the right side of us now. This is the long change period, period number 2. The Hawks are up 2-0. They've got 11 shots on goal so far through the first, and the Lakers have 9. John Lindholm for the Lakers was sent packing for the game with a game misconduct, contact to the head behind the goal. He gave Kester a pretty good shot back there, and Kester...
So it's interesting. I've seen a couple game misconducts issued. There was one in the pre-Christmas tournament at Edina involving, star player, and then this one in this game. So on the break, there's a little break room, and the other guys in there are NHL scouts, and there was chatter. I didn't talk to them. I just overheard, and they were just commenting. And short story, like short version would be, that they feel the penalty is unwarranted and overkilled. And the comment was, it's not. It's almost becoming the non-contact hockey. So there was a penalty that occurred, but nobody should read too much into it. It's not a bad kid, not anything over the top. Obviously changes the tone of this game and affects Prior Lake's chances. But unfortunate incident, and safety's of concern too. And that's I want to support the referees as well. But it was a borderline call that went against Prior Lake.
I will have to say, after watching Mike Kester play since 9th grade on this team, he is a magnet for the other teams. There's definitely instances where I'm not going to say gunning for him, but he is a object of other teams' focus at times. All right, so we're at center ice, and once again, Judding won the face-off, and the puck slides down into the Chaska zone. That's Judding behind the net. Passes it out to the right point. That's a shot that goes wide right. Bach tried to glove it. That's Billy Bronson. Billy Bronson passes it to a ghost on the left wing.
Traxel was quiet first period, but we were calling his name all game yesterday. And and a big hit at the neutral. And what Prior Lake needs to do to get back into this one. It's going to be on players like Chaska, like Cable, and obviously Judding. So keep an eye on them. I mentioned as we closed the first period, I want to see how this period starts. Prior Lake, you know, it's imperative they get off to a good start as they do still trail.
Well, and we were talking about that penalty kill that they were able to do, 5-minute major penalty, and so, but Chaska is controlling the puck right now in the Prior Lake zone. That's a long shot from Bennett on the right D, and Shop Bell is able to gather that in and not give up a rebound, so the face-off will be to his left. Lavelle's taking the draw for the Hawks. And Kimmis is taking it for the Lakers. And Magnuson chases the puck around. That's given up in the zone. That's Olmscheid. Olmscheid dumps it off behind the net. But now the Lakers are able to advance the puck. It's not going to be an icing, but that's Barrett gathering it in behind the net. And now the Hawks are on the breakout. Pitlick is unable. Oh, no, that was Lavelle. I get 12 and 21 transposed apparently on occasion, I guess. And
dicey little one there, came in high, and it's a good thing the goalie was tracking it, steered aside by Shop
Looked
Bell.
like a center fielder on that one, didn't he?
Yeah, every now and then, and I remember hearing a story about a goaltender years ago for Anoka, and they found out he needed vision correction, needed glasses. And the way they found out is in a Bantam Silver Stick game, he let in a goal from outside the red line, and he was able to track the play when it was close to him. And that was one of those, came in high, you get it up in the lights. And
big rebound there given up by Bach on a long shot, but we are going to get a penalty. Be going up against interference call against the Hawks.
You know, I mentioned in the first period, Prior Lake, the only way to play for Coach Pankratz is all out. These kids really skate. Attention and draw some penalties. Example of it right there. Olmscheid goes off, and great opportunity for Prior Lake to get back in the game.
One of the things I'm going to mention here real quick is that when Chaska's on the penalty kill, which hasn't happened too often yet. Ooh, there's a great opportunity.
Speltz back door.
You bet he was right there. If that puck was just a little bit calmer, I think he would have had the opportunity. But watch for Chaska to be able to actually play offense. Warner and Billy Bronson is out there. So a couple D guys, couple offensive guys.
Three of them.
See if they're able to get that out rather than just advancing it down this time. I've seen them be a lot more offensive on these defensive games. Well, that was Shop Bell. A little bit of trouble there, corralling the icing by the Hawks.
Judding's flying up the wing and tries to take it inside out.
Kid's got some amazing speed. And really, it's not the speed per se, it's the speed when you've got the puck, because that's like walking and chewing gum at the same time.
That's a great point. You know, I think of all the youth games I've watched, and you line kids up and race, that's one thing. Who can actually play fast is another. And, you know, Judding, he seems to get faster when he takes off with the
Lavelle has got that one. He brings it all the way into the net, and that one is corralled by Chapelle.
Danger there. That's one of those, like you mentioned.
That's why, Lavelle, you see him, he's just so talented. He's able to talk about puck handling. He's really able to, he's got great handles, I guess, for, it's almost a basketball term, but he's got really good handles. New group out there for the Hawks.
McDonald and Benz on the kill. They're joined, blue line is Magnuson and Barrett.
So here comes Green up the right side.
Green had a great first period.
You bet he did. He's ridden off the puck, however. That was just scrum in the right corner. 24 seconds left in this power play for the Lakers. See if they can't set something up here and get it going.
Interesting sequence there. Look how far Emerson was down the wall. They're really aggressive. I like the style. It's fun to watch. Nobody's going to be disappointed at a boring style. That's a power play opportunity, and without the puck coming toward him, you had Emerson all the way down below the hash along the boards pinching in. This is interesting. The stoppage of seconds before they get someone in. Last gasp here on this power play set up for Prior Lake, and they lost the draw.
Yeah, and in fact, Chaska almost tried to ice that puck, but that would have gone icing because they were full strength at the time. So behind the net, Kester over to Billy Bronson. Bronson up the side boards, and that's Scholey. Scholey, the sophomore for Chaska. Bronson takes a wrister from the high slot. That's broken up.
That was just an amazing breakout play by Scholey. He caught the puck on the wing and kept his feet moving behind him. And you know, when you look at things that don't show on the score sheet, what do you need to do to be a high-level player? Breaking it out is one of them, and a great play there just moments ago by Scholey on the right side.
Well, great move against Kester there.
Almost drew a penalty.
By Cashmark. Cashmark has had a great game here so far. I think he's really been aggressive. He's handling the puck well and distributing it as well.
He's a great kid. I had a chance to meet him in a summer showcase event at Braemar. He was playing in a teenage showcase, and talked to him a little bit. High character kid. Just a lot of quality kids that I've met across all these schools preparing for this event over the last several months.
And there's Keith Fletcher with it. One of his first shifts of the afternoon here, I believe. Brought it down, and what a great shot.
Kester walking it down. It's just evil what he does to water bottles.
I think he has a thing against water bottles. I'm not sure, but I'm not. It's kind of like that. Wow. All right. Well, that's impressive. That's
Mike Kester. That's for you.
4 goals for Mike Kester in this tournament.
Wowza. Yeah, I mean, the goals he's had, they're just jaw droppers. As you're doing the play-by-play, trying to do a goal call, it's like, yeah, wow. What a goal.
Yeah, that's not very descriptive, is it? I'm sorry.
No, I was the same way. You had 3 of them yesterday. I was like, yeah, there you go.
Well, I've got a great story. I've got a great story for you. I don't know if I should tell it at the moment. It's not too terribly long, but Mike Kester is, and the Hawks are buzzing out front now. I think that goal might have sparked him a little bit. But Mike Kester, as a 9th grader, his dad, Roger, was in the booth for the first game of the season. Never had met Mike Kester yet. And his dad, Roger, was in the booth probably working the score sheet or something like that. And he said over to me, he kind of slid the sheet over, and he pointed his finger at Kester's name. And he said, "How do you pronounce that name?" And I said, "Koster." He said, "Nope, it's Kester." Okay, I'll try to remember that. But in my mind, I'm thinking, Dad, you have a 9th grade son. He's not even going to get any ice time, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and then he's out there the whole time, right?
He scored a hat trick that night. First game as a Chaska Hawk in 9th grade, scored a hat trick.
It's funny, the first E is silent. Oh, it's actually invisible as well.
That's right. So the Hawks trying to break it out of their zone, but Prior Lake is holding it in, and there's a give up. The Hawks have kind of had a little bit turnover-itis in their own zone this season. That's one way to sort of sum up, if you kind of want to talk about some of the failures that they've had. A lot of it just does have to do with good pressure being put on by the Lakers here, and that's indicative of what's happened a lot this season. Long shot. Bach is able to steer it into the corner. Another sharp angle shot. Bach's able to stop that one. And now here's Lavelle with the puck, but that one kind of got a little hung up in the snow in front of the Prior Lake bench, but Lavelle has it out front again, circling around, waiting for his mates. Someone's right in the back door. It was a great opportunity by Benz.
What a job locating him. What a great, beautiful pass
He does have incredible vision, and so you'll notice oftentimes he is also going to be circling the zone, and his eyes are up, and he's looking for somebody to dump it off to every time. And I think if the Hawks can figure out how to maybe break a guy into the open, it's almost like a basketball play, kind of a back door or a give and go or something like that. That's sort of what he's looking for. That's very indicative of his play.
It's funny, we'll try to avoid the long stories, but I have one for the next break about the basketball play.
Good. This is Thomas on the draw. He wins it. Scholey out there with Thomas on this. This is his right wing. That's Kester behind the net. He gets hit down. Like I said, Kester is a magnet for some pretty big hits from a lot of these teams. He's not afraid to get dirty in that corner. But what also happens with Mike Kester is that when this sort of thing happens, he actually gets pretty darn pumped up. So he's already got 1 goal in this game. So He'll be looking to at least get a couple more. When he gets hit like that, he actually gets, he wants to get a little bit more involved, actually. Avoids the check there. Down in the corner. This is Billy Bronson with it behind the net. Tries to advance it up. A couple of big hits against Scholey. He's knocked around by a couple of Lakers. The puck does advance down the ice. Nice long stretch pass over to Cashmark. Cashmark. And this is Speltz. Speltz over to Cashmark. He's out front, but he's greeted by a covey of Hawks in the front of the goal. Warner gets it over. They're waiting for the Hawks to get onside. That was McDonald. McDonald puts it behind the net. Warner chases. Cashmark is able to have a nice little chip. Jutting tried to advance the puck, but the Hawks are able to pick it off, and the Hawks bring themselves offside, and that's going to draw a whistle. So 8:26 left in the second period. The Hawks are up 3-0. An interesting development, though, I think, in this period, and it's indicative of that momentum change that we talked about a little bit earlier. The Lakers actually are out shooting the Hawks 19-15 in this one so far.
So I mentioned that story, so without getting into all the details, I'll save that one for the next face-off.
All right, so the Hawks are able to get it into the zone. Magnuson chases. That's one of the things you're going to see a lot with the Hawks, is that the defenses are going to become offensive. The wings are able to cover for them, and then they do a nice little switch back, and now Magnuson is back on D, and he's defending on this one. That was Beatty with the puck, but the Hawks are able to stymie him and dump it back out of the zone. 3-0 is the score.
What's interesting about that 3-0 score is Lakers have actually got shots to goal. They've got 19 versus 15. They've got more shots to goal. It can be deceiving. Last game, you know, Matt Henches last night kept saying all shots not created equal. That's true. Not to mention, sometimes if you score right away, you don't build up your shot total. Kester's water bottle popper, an example of that. No, you know,
no doubter.
Yeah, just no doubt. And then, you know, the power play, they score 8 seconds in. So anyway, Prior Lake with the next goal. There's still plenty of time. We're in the middle of the second period. You know, I'm always rooting for who's ever behind. Even in last night's Moorhead game, I went to Edina, but you know, when Edina pulled ahead, I'm like, come on, Moorhead, let's keep the game interesting late. It hasn't been that bad. You know, the beginning of the game was a disaster for Prior Lake, but they have the ability to come back and certainly, you know, get 3 goals over the next 24 minutes. But they need to get the first one, and to this point, haven't been able to get anything past Bach.
Yeah, Bach is doing a very good job of just sort of controlling the puck out in front of him, and his defense are sticking up for him just like they're doing right now. And Prior Lake is going to have to get into their kitchen a little bit. They're going to have to disrupt some things out front. That is definitely going to have to be a strategy. Bach is not necessarily the guy that's going to corral that first shot. He's not going to always just hang on to it. So, you know, there's times that there are going to be some rebounds out front. So this one is going to be to the right of Bach. Thomas is taking the draw for the Hawks, and Green is taking it for the Lakers. Green wins the draw. Lakers send it around back behind the net. The Hawks are working on it down in the corner. That was Thomas with a long stretch pass. That stretch pass was meant for Scholey, the sophomore.
Nice little counter move from another sophomore there from Magnuson, and now he's playing it without his stick, kicking the puck. You know, there's a lot of skill across the state of Minnesota right now. Kids that are the skilled players are oftentimes being shuttled back to defense. Kester's another example. And, you know, there were times like, hey, you're pretty good. Go get us some goals. It was kind of a different mindset.
Yeah, Mikey Kester is a great example of an offensive-minded defenseman.
Savage. Tushy goes down, and I didn't see exactly, you know, what the transgression was, but when you go flying like that, you know the penalty's coming up in a high school hockey game, and Tushy got just smoked.
Yeah, the arm went up right away.
So I'm going to take the opportunity here to play just a quick ad from our sponsor, Tradition. Here is Tradition Companies, and that'll give them a minute to sort a couple things out over at the scorer's table.
Tradition Companies is your one-stop shop for all your home and financing needs. From construction, land development, new home builders, mortgages, banking, and wealth management services, the Tradition family of companies has the solution for you. For more information on everything Tradition Companies has to offer, visit traditionco.com. That's traditionco.com.
So, Greg, I was thinking about how in hockey games sometimes you get an even up call, and that major penalty was borderline. You know, it was a penalty for sure, but giving a guy 5 in a game was a lot of penalty. May not have punishment, may not have fit the crime. But then I was thinking, my next thought, why I didn't verbalize anything, is there's been too much time that's lagged before an even up call, so Prior Lake can't count on it. And then lo and behold, kind of a stroke of a luck or a good break for them. This is very interesting. They trail by 3, but they could score often in cutting into this margin and maybe, get back in the game.
Yeah, Starkey was called for that major, and Scholey is serving the penalty. At least that's what it says up on the board. So the sophomore sits in the sin bin as the Lakers are on the 5-on-4 advantage for the next 5 minutes, goal or no goal. They score, it's still going to be a 5-minute penalty, but here's Pitlick controlling the puck for the Hawks. Again, the Hawks put some of their most highly skilled players on the special teams, and they're actually able to control the puck. And what they'll do is they'll ice the puck, but Pitlick's so darn fast, he's usually the first one down to get it. And that was the same thing that happened just there, and that was Warner over to Pitlick. Nice stretch pass to him. Nice behind the pack pass to Warner as he gained the zone, but the Lakers were able to control.
Well, Prior Lake's going to need to establish some zone time. We've just started the power play, but already 45 seconds have elapsed. They finally gained the zone. Now they need to gain possession, and they've lost it.
Not an easy task against, like I said, these star players for this Hawk team, and that was a great chance by Lavelle out front. Great save by Shopbell. And Lavelle will do that, and the guitar solo, as you like to say. I love that term. It's exactly what he's apt to do on situations like this. You'll notice the Hawks will stay back, and then he'll be the one on the all by himself up the ice. So Bronson sent that one around, but they were looking for too many men on the ice, and Bronson was pointing it out. It seemed like they had about a dozen of them on there at that point, and then, of course, they touched the puck, but no call there.
Wow.
But here's Lavelle, and he's got Kester, but Lavelle, I think Lavelle was doing a no-look pass there. Instead of passing it, just buried it once again in the upper corner.
La-di-da-di, la-di-da-di. That's Shane Lavelle with the shotty. All by himself, the assists go to nobody.
Oh, and that's what I've been indicating is that, and I didn't want to have hyperbole. I didn't want it to be something like, oh, yeah, you're the homer, you're the Hawk fan up there, lucky enough to do the games with John. But I'm telling you, I've seen it more times than not in this season, and the Hawks are still shorthanded. And they get a nice sounder.
I believe that was unassisted. We'll hear in a moment, but I think that's a shorthanded unassisted. La-di-da-di.
And that was a nice
Shane
pass
Lavelle.
by McDonald. McDonald over to Benz. And the Lakers are able to get it back into the zone. You're right, unassisted. So the Hawks will send it all the way down. McDonald pressuring. That's Cable with the puck behind the net for the Lakers. He's surveying the situation, trying for a long pass, but that's broken up by the Hawks and sent back down by Scholey. No, I'm sorry, that was Magnuson. Scholey's in the box.
Well, Prior Lake has given a spirited effort, and they've got good players. They just haven't had anything go right. They trail 4-0, and based on the gameplay, maybe a 2-1 game. I mean, Chaska's playing well, but oh, you're kidding me! And then the early whistle. Nothing has gone Prior Lake's way.
That one came right off of Justin Bach's face, and I'm afraid it was whistled down because it did hit Justin's glove, and as soon as it did, it bounced out of that. Like I said, Justin isn't necessarily going to be corralling that puck as well as maybe some others, but I think that Justin's indicating that one of the players knocked it out of his mitt, perhaps with his own glove. I didn't see that necessarily, but I believe that probably should have been a goal for the Lakers to get him off the schneid and to tally one here during this 5-minute power play, but instead it remains 4-0, and I do believe they are going to call offsides, if you will, or kind of not goalie interference, but that they knocked it out of his glove, or they knocked his glove, and he wasn't able to hang on to that one after it hit his face. And so the puck now will be dropped on the outside of the zone.
So one of my favorite expressions, off the schneid. What is the origin of the term off the schneid?
I don't know. I use it a lot, but I don't know where it comes from.
It comes from a card game, and I guess it was a Schneider if you continued to lose. And when you get off the schneid, you break the losing streak. But
surprised it's not called an Erickson.
You and I have dated ourselves because you use an expression like that around people maybe under 20 and they didn't have any idea. But off the schneid is a great description.
My son is 15, and I don't think he's heard one single expression ever used. He doesn't understand a single one of them. So kids these days don't necessarily.
Well, you got a little time to think about this one. What about lock, stock, and barrel?
Ooh.
Oh, here's a chance. Oh, weak side rebound.
But just a prime opportunity for Beatty out front there.
They've still got 2 minutes in the power play, Greg, and they need a goal. They need something to go their way. They've been snake bit today here on their home ice.
Well, I tell you, Chaska actually has had some very bad luck in this rink against this team in the past couple years ago. Chaska lost a section game here 4-1. That was in February of 17. And then Prior Lake beat them here last year in this very tournament.
Kuznetsov.
Chaska lost in this tournament to Prior Lake last year 2-1. So in the Hockey for Life Classic. So they're kind of wanting to exact a little revenge, I think. And, you know, that section game was incredible. The turnout for Prior Lake, the fans, the student section was incredible. And they were raucous that night. All right, so the Lakers won that battle. Minute 33 left in this power play for the Lakers. They're trying to set something up here. Like you said, get something going, and that one's grabbed by Justin Bach. He also plays baseball for the Chaska Hawks.
3 sports. So let's buzz through these pretty quick. So late second period, want to talk about some of the graduates of these fine institutions. If you were with us yesterday, you probably heard one of the schools, and maybe you can find something interesting about the others. I don't know that she graduated, but actress Kylie Bunbury is from Prior Lake. Her brother is a professional soccer player from Prior Lake, but I believe he attended Shattuck. And then we'll talk about some very interesting legislation that has been proposed. Chaska with another scoring chance. It's behind the goaltender, and it's into the back of the net. 5-0.
Unbelievable. I mean, they were on a 3-on-2 breakaway as they were shorthanded.
2 shorties.
And again, and I had indicated that this team thinks offense when they're on the PK. So I think Lavelle was involved in it. I don't know if his stick was the last to touch it or not.
Shotball thought he had it, and it was behind him.
Yeah, it just sort of bounced over the back of his leg as it was butterflied out.
Everybody in the rink knew that the puck hadn't been covered. The ref was waiting for it to cross, and one of the purple jerseys got a stick on it and pushed it past. So here's an interesting one. So Drew Christensen is one of the youngest politicians in America, 25 years old. He's an elected politician, I believe. He proposed legislation to ban Ari Lyondike Jr., son of the car racer, from coming to Minnesota. So there's a story behind that, Greg. There is a girl who graduated from Prior Lake named Becca Kufrin. She appeared on The Bachelor when he was the Bachelor and was jilted.
Yes.
And as a result, obviously tongue-in-cheek legislation, but Drew sticking up for the people. So Becca Kufrin and Drew Christensen both have some, ties to this storyline when Ari Lyondike Jr. was the Bachelor. So that's it for Prior Lake. Now flipping over to Chaska. You heard these yesterday. People watching that might be following Prior Lake did not. Congressman Eric Paulson, Chaska graduate. Scott Walter is a forensic geologist. He's had I don't know if it was a podcast, an internet show, a TV show, something called America Unearthed.
Yes.
And then one of my favorite movies, Little Big League, and also Fargo. A lot of people love the movie Fargo, me included. Actor Tony Denman is from Chaska. He appeared in Little Big League and Fargo.
Didn't you indicate that he was in Longmire as well?
No, that was the Ferg.
Oh, okay.
The Ferg is an Eden Prairie graduate.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what Longmire is?
Well, I saw it last night. It's a Netflix original show. It actually looks great.
Well, there you go.
I just may pick it up just for that reason.
And yes, his character's name is the Ferg. That actor, Eden Prairie graduate, his name is Adam Bartley.
So another minute and 5 seconds to go in this power play for the Lakers. However, it's Chaska that scored 2 goals during this during this power play, I'm afraid, the penalty kill. And so the Lakers are again trying to set the puck up. Shot out.
Sorry about that.
Musical interlude here during the
hit the wrong button. I was trying to do something and hit the wrong button.
Well, and Justin was able to save that one off the stick of Beatty. And the net came off, so the face-off will be to his right. Yep, Justin Bach. He is actually a co-captain here on this hockey team, but he's also was the captain of the football team, and it just came out right before we start the season here with captain's practices. Guess what? He's going to be the captain of the baseball team coming up here too. And he was also the Chaska Homecoming King, so he's had a dream high school career so far, I guess. And that puck rode down the rail all the way up the ice. Lakers were able to keep it in.
This is the closest 5-0 hockey game I've ever seen. The Prior Lake kids have nothing to be ashamed of. They have played hard. They have played well. What they haven't had is any stroke of good fortune, and Warner almost knocks in another one.
Boy, Warner
as a straight puck rolls off the stick blade.
Just banged it home, almost banged that one home, but I'll tell you, Campbell had, or Shopval had just great positioning on that one.
You know, I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We got 90 seconds left and then another period, but who does Chaska play tomorrow?
Oh, it's a team I don't know if they've played very often, to be honest. They haven't had the opportunity to.
The small town from the west side.
Well,
with
it's a green. I think everything that they have is green. It's a high school that somebody I know to my right went to apparently and graduated in '86.
It was a public school, so there were really no admission standards other than living there. I didn't have to go through any application process, or they'd have been able to exclude me.
Well, I believe there are some standards, however, to make that hockey team, though.
Yeah, I wasn't even close. Boy, oh boy.
Well, you and me both.
Yeah.
I went to Burnsville in 1985, and like we were talking about before the game. Oh, and leading the team in penalty in minutes, Keith Fletcher is going off. It's actually not Keith Fletcher, it's George Fletcher. But he's listed as Keith for some reason. I gave him a rash of grief about that at the banquet last year. I did not know it was George.
I'm going to call him Lord.
There you go. There you go. And his dad is in attendance here tonight. In fact, he's probably about 20 feet down to my left.
What are we talking, the Flyers now?
Yeah, the Flyer general manager.
Well, Prior Lake, if they could get one here, at least they can go to the period break feeling a little better. They had a power play for 5 minutes, trailing 3-0, gave up 2 shotties, and it's, you know, it'd be nice at least to get that rotten taste out of their mouth and get a goal here.
Big shot from the right point. That one's
Clapper,
deflected.
Big Clapper comes in from Emerson, and Green's right there again. And a lot of players to like here. I like Beatty. Green's played well. Charlie Cash Money. Jutting, obviously.
Cashman has been outstanding today. I think, I'm not going out on a limb. I do believe that Warner has been shadowing Jutting for most of the game and kind of just stymieing his efforts. So taking the draw out.
Well, it's worked, right? We haven't called
has.
Jutting's name maybe as much, and he's one of the top players in the country his age. So, I guess that's the problem coaching when you don't have 6, 7 guys. You mentioned, Burnsville and Edina teams in the 80s.
Great point.
There's teams like that now. Minnetonka's obviously one, and let's go shadow this guy. Well, somebody else will get us. They don't have 5 Juttings. They've got one. They've got a lot of good players, but Jutting's top end, and that's going to do it for period 2.
Some jawing there behind the play with
called it. He called it.
Did he really?
Yeah, he called it.
No, and I do believe Bronson was. Oh, they're going to send both of them. They may as well just send both, I guess.
So shots are 25-20, actually favoring Prior Lake.
Yeah.
So they've gotten pucks to net.
Yeah.
But we're going to go to a second period intermission here in 2.4 seconds. Hawks leading at 5-0 over the Lakers. It's a surprising score. It's been a game that's much closer than that. Want to tee it up here. Our between period guest was up in Cloquet, Minnesota, and had a chance
New rink up there. That is beautiful. I saw it on
Cloquet, isn't that Proctor?
No, I thought it was Cloquet.
Anyway, I don't know. I was up in Cloquet. I was at the Buffalo House.
Oh, okay.
Stopped by the Buffalo House, and we've got Thomas Porter from the hockey team interviewing Landon Langenbrunner, one of the top players in the state. You will enjoy that. And then, interesting, goaltender named for a cartoon character. He is #1 on the #1 team in the state of Minnesota. you will enjoy hearing from Charlie Glockner. That was filmed at Maynard. So we're going to take a break, go to Buffalo House in Esco, Minnesota, go to Maynard's on Lake Minnetonka, and then we'll come back for the third period. So, Greg, what'd they call? What'd they do?
Looks like they got Bronson for cross-check. And I don't see his number up on the board yet here, 2
So there were 3 penalties called. There were offsetting minors and then another minor called. That one goes against Prior Lake, number 21, Beatty. So we're going to be 4-on-4 to come back to start the third period.
Thanks, folks.
Hi, I'm Dan Starnoff, and we're at the Buffalo House. It's been established since 1972 by my grandfather, and if you're ever in Cloquet or Duluth or Esco, swing by and get a good meal.
All right. Hey guys, Thomas Porter. I'm Landon Langenbrunner. And we're the CEC Jacks, and we are in the Buffalo House Junction, and we're going to ask a couple of questions. All right, Landon, what are your 2 lies and the truth?
So, I've eaten fried pig ears, I have 2 tattoos, and I can play the bagpipe.
All right. Well, I'm going to think about those, and we're going to come right back to them. Lennon, let me ask you, what's your favorite place to vacation?
Well, probably favorite place I've been, I like California, anywhere I could surf, something like that, but I really want to go to Morocco, just...
Oh, really?
Desert.
Yeah. You like sandy places with the ocean?
I mean, I like a nice camel.
A nice camel?
A nice camel. Good.
Have you ever ridden one?
Not yet.
Not yet? Not yet, that's a good answer. Well, what's your favorite genre of music?
It really depends on the vibe. I could go with some Oasis from just chilling, but, you know, out on the boat, play some Revolution, something like that. You know, really hits the heart.
Could you sing any of those songs for us?
No.
No?
No, I couldn't do that.
Why not?
I just couldn't do it.
Just couldn't do it. All right. Well, how about what's your celebrity crush? Who is it?
I gotta go with Shakira.
Shakira, how come?
I that whole one name thing just really.
Oh.
You know, like the. Like, and there's some others like Shar and stuff, but like Shakira, that's just.
Well, if you ever got the chance to meet her, what would you say to her?
I love you.
I love you.
No, that'd be weird. That'd be weird.
A little bit. But what do you think would be your best pickup line for her? Shakira. That's good. All right. Well.
No, that'd be terrible.
Well, it's better than I love you, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Landon, let me ask you, what are the best things about Cloquet girls?
I like the sass, the attitude. Yeah. It's really.
That's true.
It's refreshing. You know.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
How come? Just.
It's always interesting.
It's always interesting. Gives you something new every single day.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we're gonna go to break, and we'll be right back.
From the top.
Okay. All right, guys. We're back at the Buffalo Junction with Landon Langenbrunner, and what you told me what your 2 lies and a truth were. What were those again?
Okay.
Fried pig ears.
I've eaten fried pig ears.
Yep.
I can play the bagpipe.
Bagpipe.
And I have 2 tattoos.
2 tattoos. Well, I don't know if you're 18, but I'm gonna go with your truth as the bagpipes.
Nope.
No.
I've eaten fried pig ears.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How were they?
Not good.
Not good at all? You'd think they'd taste like chicken or something.
No, they were crunchy, and I had them with this, like, it was in Iceland, and I had them with these, like, it was some, like, off-brand ranch. And
not the good stuff?
No, it was, when I had a hard time eating them.
All right. Where'd you eat them? Where'd you eat them at?
In Iceland.
Iceland? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. All right. Well, that'll do it here at the Buffalo House Junction in Cloquet. Thank you.
Minnesota's hockey culture is one of, if not the best in America. So it's only fitting that one of the best hockey camps in the world is right here in Nisswa.
This is Dan Germanson. Welcome to Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer based in Nisswa, Minnesota in the beautiful Brainerd Lakes area. At MHC, there is a culture that breeds success. We offer resident and day camps for boys and girls of all ages from mites to NHL, 9 weeks throughout the summer.
We've had probably 700 NHLers come through here.
We have 32 hockey-related activities per week. Over the years, we have had close to 400 professional players come through our camp, including Division I, Stanley Cup, and Olympic champions.
I'm a little surprised that this camp is still here. To be honest with you, we thought it would be about a 20-year run, and it actually got better.
Visit our website at mnhockeycamps.com. Registration opens January 1st for 2019.
All right, we're here live at Maynard's on Lake Minnetonka with our guest star, Charlie Glockner, #1 for Minnetonka. Unbelievable goalie, unbelievable guy. I know you're a little nervous as well as Teddy was. Both guys are not a little shy in front of the camera, so we're gonna get you rolling with the game. We're gonna go 2 lies and 1 truth.
Okay. I've hit in a hole-in-one. I've been to Hawaii twice, and I was named after Charlie Brown.
So we're gonna go to a break and then we'll be right back and answer these questions. All right. So Charlie, we know you take a lot of vacations and you might have went to Hawaii twice. So what's your favorite spot to vacation?
I'd have to say Florida. Florida's always a fun place to vacation. You know, get on the beach and hit the links with the uncle.
All right. So we know you like music. I've been in the car with you. You love to blast your music. What's your favorite type of music?
Right now it's country. I love country music.
What kind of country?
Just country in general.
Just any country. Do you have a favorite song?
Yeah, Meant to Be by Florida Georgia Line.
I don't know that one. Do you know it? Can you sing it a little bit?
If it's meant to be, it'll be, it'll be. Baby, just let it be.
Wow. That was amazing.
Yes, I know. I'm a talented singer.
All right, so those were the easy questions, Charlie. We are now on to the toughest question and probably the most important. Who is your celebrity crush?
Oh, I have to say Ellie Dulac.
Ooh,
yeah.
That is a good one.
Yes.
Give me some up top. I like that one. So you mentioned a former Minnetonka girl in Ellie Dulac. And so now we're going to talk about Minnetonka girls. What's the best thing about Minnetonka girls?
You know, they're very nice and supportive of our team, and they're just a lot of fun.
Love it. So we're going to go to break, and we'll be right back.
We've been here since 1998. Excelsior has helped Maine in a lot of different ways in our growth and just our ability to maintain, you know, a consistent level of business. Our staff kind of sets the tone right when you walk in the door that people are here to have fun. We try to provide just kind of a atmosphere for people to hang out, be with friends, be with family, and just enjoy themselves. A lot of people seek out the lake and the restaurant. A lot of our regular customers love to bring all their out-of-town friends here. You know, friends from out of town, we got to take them to Maynard. Any college kid that comes back, this is sometimes they always stop here before they even make it back to their house. They know they're going to get a good meal at a good price and good service, and people make memories here. It's been a positive experience for my family and I, and one we look to continue on.
So Charlie, you've made many saves in many buildings, saved many games. What's your favorite rink to play at?
My favorite rink to play at is Braemar.
Why Braemar?
It's a fun atmosphere, and it's against our rivals, the Edina Hornets, and it's just always a blast playing there.
I love it. I love it. So now we're back from break, and we're going to be talking about his 2 lies and 1 truth. I'm going to have to go with his 1 truth is that he's hit a hole-in-one. Am I correct?
Not correct.
I am not correct. So what is the truth?
My truth is I was named after Charlie Brown. To prove it, my little sister's named after Charlie Brown's sister. Lucy.
Wow, that's an awesome fact, and I love that. So that was a wrap. We were here with Minnetonka's all-star goalie, best one in the state, #1 Minnetonka Skippers, Charlie Glockner. Unbelievable guy and unbelievable goalie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dakota. Third period action is going to be getting underway here in a moment. The Hawks have not taken the ice. The Lakers are breaking their huddle, and Chappelle will be heading to his goal to our right. And the Hawks are taking the ice. We're going to drop the puck here. It's 5-0. Chaska Hawks are leading. A couple of penalties right near the end of that. We had a couple of offsetting penalties. Billy Bronson went off for Chaska Hawks, number 8, and then number 21, Beatty. Those both were coincidental for roughing. And then Prior Lakes, number 21, also got a cross-check penalty assessed. So there's a minute 6 left in the penalty to Keith Fletcher, and a minute 58 left in the cross-check to Beatty.
So, Craig, stranger things have happened, but with a 5-0 margin going into the third period, it looks as though Chaska is going to win and move to tomorrow with a 2-0 record. They play Edina. On the other side, Prior Lake, you know, the kids have played hard. They had a great game yesterday, lost in overtime to Lakeville North, could have gone either way. And I think it's imperative. There's no rest for the weary. They've got to come back tomorrow night and play St. Thomas. St. Thomas is another very good team.
Okay.
It's imperative that they get something that they can take away from this. And this third period's just a big one, not in terms of this game, but really this could be a, you know, defining moment in a season. Season's kind of, it's long, but it's short. You know, it's over pretty quickly. And
it does not take long.
Yeah, they need something good to happen, and that's what I'm looking for because they've played well. They've gotten 25 shots to goal. They've actually outshot the Hawks, and the score's not indicative of the gameplay. They just need a break, and, you know, maybe they'll create their own luck with some hard work.
Barrett had the puck in the, brought it into the Lakers zone, but the Lakers take it away and are back.
Oh, are you kidding me? What a save by Bach. It was over on the back door to Cashmark. Cashmark took that feed from Emerson, and huge save. They are snake bit in the worst way, and it just continues to start the third period.
But you'll notice Bach made the initial save, but he didn't hang on to the puck. And that has been one of the issues, I think, with the Hawks this year so far. He makes those athletic saves. We've talked about it as his athleticism, quarterback, outfielder for the Hawks and now goalie. But so the Hawks, it's 4-on-4 hockey here for the next 25 seconds, and then the Lakers will be on the power play for about a half minute after that. And that's Green with the puck, loses it to the Hawks, and the Hawks break out. And this is Shane Lavelle kind of doing a guitar solo and gets ridden off the puck by a number of Lakers.
He was rumbling and stumbling like a football player running through the line, shaking off tacklers, and they just couldn't quite bring him down or take the puck away.
He does like to handle the puck in traffic. All right, so this is Charlie Erickson with the puck for the Hawks. Passes it off to his D-mate, Kester. Kester sauces it out of the zone.
What a nice pass with the backhand. One of the things we were remarking in the nightcap last night is, you know, a lot of guys would get over to their backhand. You're just not able to do as much from a shooting standpoint. The passes are harder to connect on, and Kester delivers a pass on target there, and a very nice backhand pass.
Some of those have been intercepted, not necessarily from him per se, but oftentimes those will be intercepted. But Kester's got such great vision, he knows that no other player is going to be able to come and jump that pass.
So
that's certainly something that he does well.
For my benefit, Greg, both teams now full strength. For my benefit, as long as we're talking about Kester, you know, it was well documented that Chaska had started the season disappointing, entered this weekend with a 4-5 record. Oh, nice play there. Defensively, nice play defensively. That was back-checking was Laval. Earlier I saw Barrett make a play. You know, they're really marking the men well defensively. But back to my point, Greg. So question for you.
Yeah.
4-5 entering this week. Things were not going well. Kester had not played all the games. How many had he missed, and why was he out?
He only had missed, I believe, one of the games. He had a lower body injury.
He started against Blake, but didn't finish.
Yep,
and then did he miss something after that?
He did miss a game up north. On the up north trip, he did miss the first game of that series, the Eveleth loss. Eveleth scored 4 power play goals against the Hawks.
Wow.
So they definitely were missing number 4 on the blue line, no doubt about it.
Well, the reason I'm curious is this is a building that is just a buzzing with NHL scouts. There's a little break room, and you know they're here. They were all over. I think 21 teams might have been represented at that Chaska Blake game. You know, this is a guy that's got a lot of his moves under the microscope. And you know, if you say, hey, you know, rising or falling, buying or selling this week, you know, this has been a great week. Hat trick yesterday and a goal today, and he's just been outstanding. You know, he's showing people why he's considered one of the top players in Minnesota.
Well, and he's definitely healthy too. I mean, that lower body that we were talking about earlier, it seemed to slow him up for a few games, but I think that he's definitely the kind of has the mentality that he wants to step up when the
one of the big allures, and it was something we talked a lot about when I did some Elite League games, is, you know, being able to stay and just your social impact of not having to leave. It's a great time to be a senior.
Another 12-2 hookup. Pitlick brought it behind the net instead of going all the way around with it. He was able to pass it out to Warner prior to going around the net. Warner was ready for him. Those two have done that a number of times, and now it's 6-0. Chaska Hawks are leading the Prior Lake Lakers. And what team was that horn from?
That was called Woo.
Oh, okay.
Woo. What do you use when you play music, public address, when you're at Chaska? What are you using? Are you using something off a computer?
Yeah,
the
I'm
same
using
app,
iTunes, you know, and I just have playlists, and
Oh, you don't even have a dedicated app for that?
No.
There's a guy that he showed me one that was pretty cool. Anyway, back to the game here. That makes it 6-0. 6-0.
Oh, big hit, very big hit, leveled. Magnuson. And you know what? Ethan McDonald's probably one of the toughest pound-for-pound kids you're going to find on the ice. Little a guy. There he is with the puck right there. He takes hits like that every single game, but he always gets back up. He must be his head must be made out of concrete or something like that.
He's a fantastic skater, and I can vouch that he's a terrific kid. I had an opportunity to meet him that same event where I met Cash Money over the summer, and, you know, really nice kid, and he's a big part of this Chaska team. You've got some big players, you know, Warner's very, very tall. You've got some, you know, high-profile players, certainly Pitlick and Kester.
Well, I think of him as a lunch bucket kind of player, I guess.
Every team needs players, and Ethan's a big part of that line with Pitlick and Warner. They're playing great.
That term was taught to me by Tor Okerlund, the lunch bucket player. And I didn't quite know what that meant at the time when he told me, but that's what he said that he was. Todd Okerlund actually told me that one, his small NHL career.
So it's funny, you're going way back here, and 12 minutes to go, a 6-0 game. We can probably tell a few little stories. So one time, you know, I do remember my youth hockey days pretty well playing down the road at Burnsville. And one time I'm there in high school. Watching the game, and that's then when I met Mean Gene in person.
Absolutely.
And, you know, shook his hand, and then he opened his mouth, and like that voice, like what you saw him on television, there was no effects giving it this deep, you know, it was just his natural voice, and he's got a very distinctive voice, and it was, you know, a lifetime memory actually hearing him in person. I'm like, hey, how you doing? And
I worked,
like, oh my gosh.
So I'm in the advertising business, and I actually helped Mean Gene launch Mean Gene Burgers, which was a subsidiary of Orion Food Group, which is owned by the Schwann's company. And Mean Gene and I did a lot of things together, getting that brand launched, and it was a hamburger franchise in various convenience stores throughout the southeast part of the country. Another big opportunity for that was Ben's on the back door. I just heard a story about the nets in this facility and why it is that they pop off all the time. And this was
do tell.
So apparently there's a room underneath this building, and someone said it was a bowling alley.
Okay.
I don't know. And they said that it kind of affected a little bit some of the coolant, the refrigerant, and at deeper levels, so they aren't able to sink the posts terribly deep, and therefore it's a relatively weak connection on the net. I was just told that at the intermission. So
whoa, major laser in the top corner.
That was an outstanding shot by Barrett at the left point. That's a 7-0, and so now in 10 minutes and 17 seconds, this game will be over because it's running time, and
Unless Prior Lake can get two quickies, but
that's true.
Thanks for joining Construction Talk here with Greg Erickson and John Connolly. Next week, we'll be talking about home renovation on the eastern banks of the Mississippi River.
That's right.
No, so interesting factoids there about the building. So, yeah, wowza. You know, I was about to mention Speltz had gone off on a penalty, and that gave Chaska power play. Chaska's power play was very impressive, nice passing, moving the puck around, and then they scored. So couldn't get that thought out. But you know what? I'm dumbfounded this team lost 5 games, and I can't wait to see them suit up tomorrow and play.
And every time I interviewed any of the Hawk players, they always said it doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. And to a man, that's what they all said to me. And it was almost as though that's maybe the mantra coming from the chalk talk from the coaching staff. That's a possibility. But they've all bought into that theory. They all know how talented they are. As a group.
Well, Greg, yes, but I just want to point out there's a lot of things in life that are easy to say, but doing them's another thing, and they had to find a way to right the ship, and nobody would set out to lose 5 games in their opening stretches. And this team is not playing, you know, good. They're playing fantastic, phenomenal hockey. They really put it to Eden Prairie yesterday, winning 6-3.
They kind of demoralized them a little bit during that game. Eden Prairie kind of lost the will to live a little bit.
And now they're up
to play.
They're up a touchdown on a Prior Lake team that Prior Lake is no slouch. Prior Lake's a pretty good team, and 7-0.
Well, like I had indicated in the past, you know, Prior Lake has stymied this team in the last couple of years, and so it was demoralizing for this Hawk team the last couple of years. What the Lakers had done to them in that section game and a couple years ago, and in last year's regular season matchup. So Warner's kicked out of the face-off dot. You'll have to explain to me 90% of the time. I'm not sure why they always do that, but taking the draw for Chaska was Thomas.
So the next opponents for these two teams, Chaska plays Edina at 2:30 tomorrow, and then Prior Lake will play the nightcap 7:30 against St. Thomas. So, you know, it's a new day tomorrow, and it's a great showing here for Chaska, and one they'd like to forget for Prior Lake. But guess what? It won't take long for them both to move on after this game with the 3 games back to back to back.
And Cashmark there with a nice shot from the right point. Justin Bach was able to see it all the way into his glove. You know, and tell me about, you know, I mean, you've obviously seen the Hornets play. I haven't had the opportunity to really see them play yet this year. So I'm not positive, you know, what the Hawks are going to be running into, the buzzsaw. I mean, when they ran into the buzzsaw that is the Minnetonka Skippers the other day, that was definitely a eye-opening experience for these Hawks. I think they played well. Maybe not to the level that you've seen here in the last 2 games, but at that time, I was fearful a little bit that this team could go 4-8 after a 1-week span because of this
strong
3-game
competition
tournament and
for sure.
Strong. And to be honest, I've been covering these Hawks now. Oh, puck loose out front.
Big
covered
save.
Up by
Hagelin.
Shot bell.
Hagelin.
Oh, he's new goalie in there. Sorry, I didn't see that transition. You know, in the past several years, the Hawks haven't played the likes of Minnetonka. They haven't played Eden Prairie very often. Teams like that. You know, maybe they'll find them in a section game. They get one section game. But, you know, the regular season, they certainly aren't playing them very often, those sort of talented teams. Dave Snuggerud definitely has upped the schedule here this year, and the Hawks are playing teams that are much higher quality than some of the teams they've played in the past several years. I mean, Dave, I think, obviously sees the opportunity, wants to give these guys an opportunity to play against the best. And that was Fletcher there on the far board.
Oof.
Just a great big collision with that net.
Good thing there's a bowling alley underneath,
Yeah.
because that net gave a little bit. So,
That's
Greg,
right.
you know, there's a bunch of theories out there, and I read some pretty detailed you know, statistical analysis of the Wild season. They were shooting at a higher percentage and got off to a run, and now they've had the other side of that, but it averages out, and you know, I guess the expression statistically is regression to the mean. If I'm optimistic about the Lakers, I'm sitting there watching this game saying, I can't wait till the day things balance out, because when we get all of our breaks, we could beat the Russian Red Army team or something. I mean, they have had nothing but misfortune. You know, when they get the good fortune coming their way, the kids have played hard. They've played well. They've got some skilled players. They've been stymied by Bach making some great saves. They've gotten 28 pucks to net. And just think, you know, one of these days things are going to go their way. It can't. They can't have another day on the calendar this year where they get as few good breaks as they've had today.
Well, there's a lot to do with puck luck, you know, and I think a couple of the games that Chaska lost earlier in this season, puck luck had a lot to do with it. The Buffalo game, the Sartell game, the Eveleth game, you know, but you can't coach to that necessarily, but you know,
you can work hard and make your breaks.
You can work hard and
I
you
think
work a little harder.
And I think the Prior Lake kids play very, very hard. And yesterday being another example, today, you know, these kids never rolled over. They never had a good break. And some skilled players from Chaska made some beautiful goals. And now we're down to 4 minutes to go. So let's tell you what's coming up here. Next game, Stillwater plays Lakeville North. Stillwater lost 4-3 to St. Thomas. Lakeville North won 3-2 over Prior Lake.
That was an overtime game.
Overtime, so that's on paper looks to be a very good matchup. The third game today from Prior Lake, Moorhead plays Eden Prairie. Moorhead was awesome last night, folks. Moorhead had Edina on the ropes, and in the end goes down 6-5, but Moorhead was awesome. And Eden Prairie's got a lot to prove. They had a good start to the season, good showing yesterday, but Chaska was just too much. And I know Eden Prairie did not come to Hockey for Life looking to lose back-to-back games. So that's the third game, and then the nightcap. St. Thomas, they looked good yesterday. They won 4-3 over Stillwater. They're going to face Edina, and Edina is tantalizing with their, skill play. The top line is really running around like a symphony, the way things are in concert. But they can't find a way to keep the puck out of the net in some of their games. 3 goals in 5 minutes against Cretin. And yesterday, 5 goals total, a lot of them back-to-back against Moorhead. So that'll be interesting as well. So great day. Don't go anywhere. You're a shut-in. Lay on the couch, pop open that laptop, and maybe even run the cable into your TV. We got 10 hours of hockey here from Prior Lake.
We've got a great television that's able to get YouTube right on the, or an internet connection right on the a smart TV, I guess, right? So dumb user smart TV, but I was able to watch this on my my 4K TV.
Nice.
It was outstanding. Looked great. Well, the question that I had was for tomorrow. You know, these Hawks face Edina, and that's not a team likes they have. They just can't get it in the goal.
And what an amazing play! I mean, give credit where it's due. Swanson makes an amazing play, comes around weak side, claps at it, and you know the puck 4 inches higher gets over Bach's pad, but Bach makes another save, and
he was able to knock it out of midair.
Bach's playing great.
Bach is doing very well.
So our lineup for tomorrow.
Well, my question, I guess, is all right, Edina Hornets and these Chaska Hawks. You've seen Chaska play 2 pretty darn good games here in a row. Tomorrow is the ultimate test, I guess, for them.
So you're going to ask me what my thoughts are for who's going to win the game?
Well, I'm not going to ask you who's going to win, but
well,
I'm going to ask you.
I was going to answer that.
Yeah, because that's almost impossible to tell.
What I'll tell you this, Greg, I want to come back and see the game tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. That should be a great hockey game.
There you go. That's probably the best answer you can give. I'm going to be here as well.
Yeah, I think when you look at 4 Division I committed players on Chaska, 5 on Edina, you know, there won't be many high school games where you look and you see 9 kids that are already college committed. Both of those teams probably have some more coming from behind it. I had a chance to talk to a junior hockey coach. He really loves Ben's on Chaska, and you know, I know some of those Edina kids that aren't yet college committed will be. So it's a afternoon game, but you know what? We don't need the sun to go down for the stars to come out. That's going to be exciting. So let me walk you through the lineup tomorrow noon. Our color analyst is Ryan Kraft. He's a Moorhead native, former captain of the Minnesota Golden Gophers. 2:30, it will be the father of number 17. Chaska plays Edina, and joining me on loan from Fox Sports North is Tom Chorsky. Really excited to have Tom in the booth with me tonight and tomorrow. 5 o'clock game, Lakeville North, Eden Prairie. That is Ace. He did a great job when we were Thanksgiving. Oh, there's another dribbler.
Let me tell you something that just happened here. That was number 10 for the Hawks. Thomas. Yep. So Thomas is the one that got leveled here, and they drew the penalty against the Lakers there. Thomas skated off, and Dave does this on occasion. He's like, I need you to go get a goal for me. Get on out there. And so he double shifted Thomas. The kid had just got leveled down here, was standing out in front of the net, and was able to bury that one. And so Dave rewarded Thomas for some really good work, some hard work down there on the blue line.
So 8 Love's going to be the final score here. Color commentators tomorrow. The third game tomorrow is Ace Brad Atal. Brad used to live in Lakeville, knows a lot of the kids and their families, and he'll do the Lakeville North Eden Prairie game, and then the nightcap. Assistant coach of the St. Thomas Junior Varsity, graduate of 1986 St. Thomas Academy. He's got a lot of ties to the program. A board member for the Upper Midwest High School Elite League. We're going to bring Mark Mackesy on board for that late game tomorrow. So we've got a great lineup on tap for today. Great games tomorrow. And we're coming up on the midpoint here for Hockey for Life. So in closing, Greg, let's kind of walk through, maybe nominate some players that might be considered when I put together a little post-event, tournament team judged by the broadcasting crew.
You bet. Well, I think Cashmark for the Prior Lake Lakers was all over the ice, and he was really giving the Hawks fits, especially early in the game. So Cashmark, the senior for the Lakers. And then for the Hawks, I guess, the scoring was pretty even. Number 12 and number 2 played a lot of catch today.
Well, Warner had a great game, and
everybody
then
was setting each other up for goals.
One power play opportunity for Prior Lake, and Laval has 2 shotties.
Yeah. So,
wow. And Bach. It wasn't that critical when the margin gets so wide.
Right.
But the reason it was never a close game is that Prior Lake didn't get to score, and they had chances. They just never got the goals.
You bet. And I don't know how many guys you want me to name, but definitely Pitlick and Warner and Bach. That's a great choice right there.
And Kester. Can I add him? So, yeah. Hey,
again,
you know
I don't
what?
know how many you want me to add. But
and Snuggerud was awesome behind the bench. And so, Greg, I've enjoyed it. We've done 2 games
John,
together.
Thank you so
Here
very
we
much.
are from Dakota.
I was so glad to meet you here, and really appreciate you letting me do this with you. It was so much fun, and it was really fun. I had a lot of trepidation about this tournament for the Hawks, and it warms my heart to see them being able to respond to the adversity, I think, and kind of shake off some of the rust that they've acquired over the games near the end of this first half. But this was great to see, and I appreciate you letting me in, and
Well, it's good to have you. So I've enjoyed working with you these 2 games. And last thing to do before we sign out is just give credit where it's due. As always, A++ job. Justin, he's our producer. He's going to take us out from here. And don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back in 40 minutes with the next one.